Mike Pence. Mike Pence has a book coming out, and it was an excerpt of it was just published in the Wall Street Journal. And in this excerpt, he claims that on December 5th, he says, for the first, in a December 5th call, the president, for the first time, mentioned challenging election results in Congress. Now, that's just a lie. All right, this is Mike Pence rewriting history. The fact of the matter is that the plan to overthrow the election was not on December 5th. It officially, formally began on November 18th. And that was when that first memo was sent from Attorney General Ken Chesebro to Attorney James Tropus, and thus began the process. And Mike Pence got read in on this. Then you had the Financial Times did an article about this on November 18th as well. So Mike Pence is saying, oh, it all started on December 5th. And it was and back to quoting from his book, he said, by mid-December, the internet was filled with speculation about my role. An irresponsible TV ad by a group calling itself the Lincoln Project suggested that when I presided over the January 6th session, I would prove that I knew it's over. And that by doing my constitutional duty, I would be putting the final nail in the coffin of the president's reelection. And then he goes on to say, Pence, it was the first time anyone implied I might be able to change the outcome. And again, that's not true. That goes back to November. And in fact, I was in March of 2020. I published a piece in Salon and on Alternet and on Raw Story and other places like that, saying that, guess what? This is what Trump is going to do. He's going to try to replay the 1786 election. So, and by December 4th, the Washington Post was reporting on this. Again, Mike Pence says it all started on December 5th with the Lincoln Project. No. And the Lincoln Project, by the way, dropped their ad on December 8th. But I think the larger issue here is that Mike Pence is just a complete weasel. I mean, if he knew, and he did, a month before January 6th, that this was coming down the road, why didn't he call a press conference? Why didn't he say to America, you know, Trump is planning on doing something that is not just immoral, not just anti-democratic, but is a crime? He's planning a crime. In fact, part of his crime might be to have me assassinated. Why didn't, I mean, Mike Pence knew this was coming. Why didn't he say anything about it? According to Pence's book, this excerpt, his book is called So Help Me God. He wrote, you could be a historic figure, but if you wimp out, you're just another somebody, Trump told Pence, according to the book. This is what Trump, again, this is Pence saying that Trump told him, quote, you're too honest. Hundreds of thousands are going to hate your guts. People are going to think you're stupid. I doubt Donald Trump ever said to Mike Pence, you're too honest. Keep in mind, in 2000, when Mike Pence was a congressman from Indiana, he wrote an op-ed that was published in newspapers across Indiana. Excuse me, when he was running for Indiana governor, I believe it was. He wrote an op-ed that was published in newspapers across the state saying that tobacco didn't cause cancer. Why? Because his family ran a chain of kind of 7-Eleven type stores.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-808-9925.
Which are all bankrupt now, by the way, but they made most of their money selling tobacco. That's Mike Pence. This is a guy who will say or do anything if he thinks it'll get him ahead. Your call's up next.